smoother if there isn't that interruption between the phases that DJ covers. And if you ask a question in the chat, I'll also note if we'll cover it later, and just stay tuned for that section, etc. So yes, thank you all for joining us tonight, and we can open it up, since it is a small group. If anyone wants to just unmute themselves, telling us who you are, how long you've been in the business, and what you gained to get out of tonight's webinar. What you expect to get out of tonight's webinar, rather. And you can just go ahead, and whoever wants to go first, just go ahead and unmute yourself.
All right, anybody want to go first? I see a Donardo Barnes.
Hey, this is Sherry. I'll go first. I've had my 360 booth for about 9 months now. I live in Euclid, Ohio. And I have the automatic spinner that holds 4 people. And it's been pretty fun. And I love Touchpix and customer support and all of that. Keep doing what you do.
Thank you for that. You didn't have to give us that great of a plug, but we appreciate that. We'll take it.
Oh, and I'm here to just stay up to date with the 360 photo booth tonight.
Thank you very much. Anybody else want to introduce yourselves? Tell us a little bit about you, what you want to learn in today's webinar. Are you guys iPhone users? Are you guys GoPro users? What do you guys want to see today?
I'm Taisha. I'm an iPhone user. I have an automatic 360 photo booth or video booth, whichever term. I'm honestly here just to learn. I've had mine for about 7 to 8 months now. I enjoy using Touchpix. And I'm just here again. I don't even know what tonight's topic is. I just remembered that there would be a webinar tonight. So I'm just joining in.
Well, welcome. Yeah, I don't know what tonight's topic is either. We've kind of been freestyling them for the last few sessions, in the sense of we're here to discuss whatever you guys are taking the time out of your night or your day to learn. And if you guys are here for that, I want to cater to the people that are taking the time and jumping into our webinars to address any concerns that you guys may have. So definitely welcome. Anybody else?
Hey DJ, can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Wait, I was having problems trying with my mic. That's why I couldn't get in. 1 second.
Yeah, I can hear you. You good? All right, doesn't look like he's got that sorted out, but anybody else, you guys want to jump in, doing a quick introduction of where you're from, what you guys want to learn today in today's webinar? And hopefully we can.
I see there's a Krista
I'm from
and
Atlanta.
a Kish. Okay.
This is Kish. I'm from Atlanta, and I've been on the webinars a lot. So the one thing that I do want to learn more about is Scanpix, and I just recently got me a GoPro 10, so I'm getting comfortable with the wired webinars as well. I haven't gotten the actual cord that I need. I ordered it, so I should get it by tomorrow, and I'll start practicing with it. But I would like to learn a little bit more about Scanpix. And I have the same router that you have, DJ, the micro.
Yeah, the MikroTik. Yeah.
Yeah, I have that one. I had the other one from before, But this one, I'm having a little bit of an issue getting it set up from the beginning.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm
Okay.
just
Well,
here to absorb everything that you're offering.
okay. Well, let's see if we can. I don't know if we're gonna get into Scanpix today. These are Scanpix is a little more technical, but I wouldn't mind scheduling kind of a one-on-one with you to get you up and going. Uh, for whatever that's worth, I think we can definitely do that. I think we can knock it out if we can find a time that works best for both of us. But for sure, definitely.
Okay, awesome. I'm with that.
Anybody else want to introduce, or should we get started? I know, just let me know what you guys want to learn about today, if it's iPhone related, if it's GoPro related. I think we've been doing the wired GoPro for the last 2 or 3 webinars. I don't know if there's still a need to go over that, or if you guys want to revert back to iPhone, or I don't know if you guys are ready for Scanpix, then we can go into Scanpix, but I'm not. I kind of want to save Scanpix for next week because I think there's some developments happening, and hopefully we'll have you know some more information to share.
Okay, well, I would suggest going over. I use the iPhone 13 and iPad.
I use iPhone as well, DJ.
Okay, sounds
And
good.
then I have a wedding coming up. So anything that, if you want to do the iPhone and iPad, it'd be nice.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I
So
think we
without
can do a iPhone webinar tonight, DJ.
okay, that's not a problem. We could definitely rock that out. Let me see what the easiest way would be because I have all of these devices in front of me. Okay, let's start with the iPhone. So for the GoPros users, don't get dissuaded. The setup process is the exact same way, except you're just going to activate a few extra steps. And I'll go over those steps and I'll let you guys know when those steps are needed. That way, for people that are wanting to learn iPhone, you can just disregard those specific steps that I'm going to touch on once I say, look, if you're here for an iPhone, you don't need to follow the following steps because they go into a GoPro type of setup. Okay, so hopefully it'll make sense. And I know there's about 9 people in the call now. Has everybody used Touchpix already, or is there somebody that's strictly brand new thinking about using Touchpix? Because that will also kind of dictate the pace of this webinar. Just want to know if everybody's super comfortable with the setup process.
Yeah, I'm good. No, I'm good.
If anyone's new and they don't want to unmute themselves, you can just put it in the chat, just so we can get an idea. If everyone could just comment whether you're new, you never used Touchpix, or you have used Touchpix and you've done a couple of events.
All right, I don't think I see anybody that says they're brand new, so that's great. The fact that users that are actively using the software are coming back to get some either a refresher or trying to get a better understanding on how to do certain things, I think is always good because you're investing in yourself and your business, and that's always going to be a good thing. So without further ado, let's kind of get it going. So let me see how I'm going to structure this webinar. You guys, I'm gonna probably skip the setup process. Are you guys okay with that as far as setting up the event, or do you guys want to see, or you guys want to see the setup process?
I'm good.
I'm good with the setup.
Okay, so what I'm going to do then, I'm going to dive right into scanning an event that I already have. Let me share my screen real quick, and then maybe I'll scan an event and go from there. Let me log in because I'll need a practice event to be able to show you. Just give me 1 second here. Okay, well, that's taking too long. Let me switch it over. Just give me about 20 seconds. It's loading. I'm just loading an event here on my device. That way I can show you. So I will cover the iPhone. I'll do some of the effects in case people want refreshers on that. Maybe I'll show off some of the animated overlays if people haven't really had the opportunity to mess with the animated overlays.
Yes, that would be great.
You know, these are a little bit more of the advanced features that I think we would definitely have time to show off a little bit. All right, so I'm hoping you guys can see my phone on the screen now. Can I get a affirmative on that?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so wait, let me do one more thing. I forgot to scan an event. Give me a sec. I'm gonna scan an old event. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Scanning an old event here. That way I can get it ready. It's doing the Apple TV, synchronizing with the files it needs. Okay. So I'm skipping over the setting up process. I think people can definitely, if you haven't done that already, you can see an old webinar and kind of go through the entire process. So this is kind of designed for iPhone users. Once you have your, you scan into your event, the event, of course, you scan from the website. Again, we recommend you set that up from the website. You open up Touchpix, hit activate event, you scan the QR and you'll get to your start screen. Right now, we're only focused on slow motion. So you only see a slow motion tab down here. If you wanted to add photos and stuff like that, you would see other experiences. All of that stuff you set up online. Okay. Once you install Touchpix for the first time, I have a habit because we kind of go through updates quite frequently because we're always improving on the app. I always make sure I check my camera settings, right? To make sure that my camera settings are reflective to what I want. So once I go to the camera settings, I make sure that my iPhone's set to ultra wide. In this case, it was not. So I'm going to change it over to ultra wide. Then I'm going to go ahead and go into slow-mo speed. And the desired slow-mo speed for the iPhone is 1920 by 1080 at 120 frames per second. Those are pretty important settings that you need for your iPhone. After that, I'm going to hit the go back button on the top left-hand corner. I'm going to go back into the menu and just click on settings one more time. I'm going to toggle over, I'm going to turn off the printer, toggle over to the session. Right now it's set to medium quality by default. Make sure that this is set to at least ultra high quality. Or if you want to remove any type of compression, you actually uncheck the compression box. Okay. It'll give you a warning saying that if you want to do uncompressed files, just know that These are large video files, and it may require very fast internet for you to work with. If you don't know by now how to check your network speed, Touchpix makes it super easy for you now. So right here, 2 options down, network speed test. Whatever Wi-Fi you're connected, preferably do this at the venue where your event is taking place, because your cellular signal, your hotspot varies from place to place. You want to make sure that you have adequate speeds to be able to share without compression or even with ultra high quality compression. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and toggle the network speed test to the on position. And it's going to run a speed test of whatever Wi-Fi your device is connected to at the moment, right? So it's going to run that real quick, and it's going to tell me whether or not I can function without any compression, or I may need to toggle it to either high quality, ultra high quality. I always do this because I want to know whether or not I'm going to struggle with sharing or my text messages are going to go out. Right now, my speeds are not, they're not super fast. So for files without compression, I always tell people that this upload speed needs to be at least a 19. That's my personal preference. That's my personal number, right? For ultra high quality files, 12.91 upload is fine, right? We're doing the webinar right now, so I'm just going to leave it as is, but just know that I'm going to recommend upload speed of a 19 if you're doing no compression. But if you're doing ultra high quality compression, anything above a 7 will be fine. Okay, so just make a note of that. Hit OK. And then toggle this off. Make sure you turn off the network speed off. From this point on, you can actually just confirm that all of these other settings are great. Stabilization should be on, right? I'm going to toggle over printer is off. I'm not worried about printing. We went over camera settings already, and now we're going to skip over photo effects, and now we're in video effects. So for people that don't know, Touchpix does give you free audio files. I'm going to go ahead and delete whatever file was preloaded onto this event. And I'm going to go ahead and download a file from Touchpix, a free file. So I'm going to go ahead and go and hit this add effect. Then I'm going to look down here at the list and go scroll down to where it says music. Click done. Then you're going to see the music tab open up there on the gray box. I'm going to tap on music. It's indicating that in order for you to use this effect, it needs to download the files. I'm going to tap on OK. It's downloading the music files that you can use for free, and it's giving you about 14 choices. I'm going to use 13. Once you select it, it becomes bold. So now I have a music file up there. Next step is to add certain effects. So I want to show you guys today how to add an animated overlay effect. But before I show you how to add that, I'm going to show you where I stored my files. So an animated overlay effect is created by a specific designer. In my case, we use certain designers that are able to produce these types of files. You know, if you're in our group, I suggest you ask away and see who can make these files for you. We've worked with a lot of different designers, but we're not responsible because it's just, there's too many people out there that are saying that, you know, I can do these, and I don't want to be responsible in recommending somebody and then you guys get ripped off. So before paying anybody for this type of work, I recommend that you have them, or you request that they send you a watermark design. That way you can test it and make sure it works. And you can make sure that they put some time and effort into that design, even if it's watermark. So I would suggest, you know, making sure that these people know what they're doing. So once they do create this animated artwork for you, what I want you to realize is that this artwork needs to be emailed to you. Preferably, I give them an email that I have access to from my device, and I save it on my device, it's going to be saved in my files folder under, as you can see up here, it says downloads, and it has an animated, I named it animated, right? And if I right click on that and get info, it's telling me that this file size is, it's 5.3 megabytes. It's a small file. It's telling me that dimensions, I'm using template 3. And it's also telling me possibly, let me see, show more. It's telling you what the codec is. The codec is important. Animators know what this is. It needs to be an HEVC codec, MOV, or an MP4, but it's a certain thing that they have to, they have access to. And there's a program called After Effects or Adobe Premiere where designers use to make sure that, you know, they can make this compatible. So it's not something that's easily done. You cannot do this on Canva. You cannot do this on Photoshop. This has to be done by a professional designer with that specific software. Okay, so in this case, I just showed you what the layouts are, where I save them. That way you guys understand that when they email it to me, I download it onto my phone, okay? And what I can do from there is open up Touchpix. If I want to use that effect for animated overlays, I can do this add effect and go down here where it says overlay alpha. I'm going to click done. Then you're going to see the overlay alpha tab pop up on your screen. I'm going to select that. Now it's asking me, where do I have that file? Only 2 types of files that it'll let you upload, an MOV or an MP4. I'm going to click choose file. It typically it doesn't open up onto your, it'll open up to this screen here because it's going to ask you where do you have it stored. And in my case, I stored it on my phone. And let's use the animated overlay. Any of these 2 are the same thing. I just renamed them. And as you can see, it already added the animated overlay. So now I have room for one more effect if I want to use that extra effect. I'm going to go ahead and click add effect again. And maybe I'll add another type of effect. Let's try a rotate effect. Click done. And then from the rotate effect, I'm going to go ahead and tap on the actual file. This timeline opens up right here, telling me that this effect is going to be applied in the entire video. I don't like that, so I'm going to go ahead and move it to the left. I want this effect only to be applied at that part of the video, right? So those are my 3 effects that are added already. Next, for people that want to add a outro video to promote their business, this is where you do it here, the post roll. It is recommended that when you click on post roll, similar to the animated overlay where you have to save the file onto your phone, right? The other thing that's important about the post roll or the pre-roll is if I'm using template 3, the post roll needs to be the same size as your template 3. Okay, so if you're using template 1, the post roll needs to be the same size as your template 1. Make sure they're matching. So I'm going to click on post roll, and it's asking me, where do I have this post roll stored? And in my case, I have it right down here. I call it an outro, and I'm going to select it. And it turns into this screen here. If you see delete post roll, that means something is loaded. Okay. And that's pretty much it. Those are your video effects. That's how you load them. I'm going to go ahead and go to the right, where you don't have to go into any of these features here. And I'm going to just hit go back. I'm going to do a quick little test to see how that looks, right? And forgive my mess here, my little, my room, but this is kind of where we're at. So it's recording now. I could see that it's on template 1, so it's probably not going to look as great because I'm using a template 3 artwork and a template 3 outro. But from the live view, I was able to see that I didn't load a blank. Let's see. Let's see how it looks, and I'll show you guys how to adjust that real quick. So that's the animated overlay. Right, you see some movement. Actually they look really, really good. There's that rotate effect that I added. And because it's not the correct size, my outro looks funky. So I'm going to show you guys how to fix that real quick. Like in my case, this is actually a common problem, and we get calls for this all the time because people are using different settings, but they're forgetting to set the correct template size. And in my case, you guys are able to see my screen now. So I'm going to go ahead and fix it, and then I'm going to go back into the software. So what I'm going to do is go into Designer. I'm going to use a regular Designer. You can use the beta if you want. And for this specific event, what I want to do is just tell the software that I don't want to use, this is your template 1. I don't want to use template 1. I want to use template 3, right? That's the one that I want to use. And of course, before you add the blank template, you want to make sure that you're adding it to the correct event. So once I have the correct template added, I'm going to hit add template. And that's all you do. So now I'm going to go back into the software. Let me do another screen mirror. Okay, so I'm back into the software. I'm going to go click on menu, and I'm going to hit refresh event. It's refreshing the event. It should load the correct template now. I want to make sure that my effects didn't erase and I don't have to start over. As you can see, all my effects and my post roll are still there when I hit refresh event, which is great. So now I'm going to hit go back one more time. And I'm going to run another session here. And now you can see that the live view represents template 3 again. And now we should get a correct version of the animated overlay. And we should get a correct version of the outro video. With the animated overlay, it does add a couple seconds extra. It's still fairly quick, but it does, quick little disclaimer, it does add a couple extra seconds to that. It looks like it's stalling out. Let's do one more record. And I'll show you guys how to kind of sync that up with the sharing station. If people are using Apple TVs, I'll show you how to sync it up with Apple TV. Internet seems to be a little laggy today. Let's go see if it already came into the web gallery. Give me 1 second here. We're going to go over to this specific event. So there is the animated overlay. You can see it a lot better. The screen mirror was lagging on me right now, so I just wanted to show you guys how it looked.
Question, DJ.
Yeah,
So the package or the effects that we got from Touchpix with the sparkles, those only work with the overlay black as opposed to the overlay alpha, which is what you just used.
correct. So I'll show you how those work as well. So you have time for
Oh, okay.
a couple of examples, because I do have some of those loaded. So in this case, what I'm going to do is go back into Touchpix, right? And what I'm going to do is once I go into the effects, so I'm going to go into settings in video effects. I'm going to erase overlay alpha. I'm going to get it out of there. So the ones that you're referring to, we sell them on the online store. It's kind of one of the very first effects that we came out with. They're a little dated now, but they're extremely, I mean, they work extremely well still. It's just really a preference type of thing and what effect you want to go for. For that specific effect, you want to go here where it says add effect. And then you're going to want to go down to where it says overlay black is how you load those that confetti pack. And you click done. Then you're going to click on overlay black in the gray box. It's asking you where that file is stored. So I'm going to click choose file, files. My specific storage for that file, I store it in my Dropbox folder. And on this specific folder, let me see. Here we go. There is a file called confetti. Here we go. It's in my confetti folder. See if it opens up real quick. Okay, so I'm going to use this confetti number 3. It's telling me that it just gives you a warning, making sure that you understand that the media, that special effect is only a certain amount of seconds. It makes giving you a warning, making sure that you understand that, right? And as you can see, it's called confetti golden template. It's already loaded. Once you load it, you go back and then you run another test here. And I hit record, right? It's going to record 2, 1. We'll do the same type of recording. These do take a little longer, just in a few extra seconds. The overlay black is just a different type of effect. it actually, for people that actually look at that effect and play it back on the computer, you're going to see that the sparkles or the confetti are applied over a black type of template. So what the software does, it eliminates everything that's black, and it applies the special effects, and it'll look something like this. So right when it says adding outro, we have 2 more steps, the outro and then the audio, and it should do a video playback. In this case, this is my video playback is where my computer is struggling right now with the mirroring. So let's go back into the effects. Let me just try again and see if it'll play. Yeah, it's struggling with the mirroring, right? It's playing on my phone, but it's not playing on the actual computer. So let's go into the gallery. That's what's cool about Touchpix, that you can always view it in your gallery. So let's make sure we're in the same event here. Go back into gallery. And it should be this effect right here. This is the video we just did now with the effect. So I'm gonna hit play. People that at home, you guys could see that's the effect of confetti shooting out. And you load that with the overlay black, right? You can still add your normal design, right? You can still use any template, design your template. And then from there, you can still add the confetti on top of that. Let me show you a different one, right? Because I think for people that are on this call, I think it's important for you guys to also understand that there's a lot of different ways you can use the effects with Touchpix, specifically with overlays. And that's kind of why I love this software, because it just gives you a lot of versatility in that sense. So let me go back into the screen mirror. Is this making sense for a lot of people that want to do different types of overlays and maybe have some movement and how to load some of the effects? Let me know if you want me to slow down or if you kind of wanted me to explain something a little bit better. Okay, so let's go back into Touchpix. I'm going to go back into settings. And now I'm going to erase the overlay black. I'm going to hit delete. And I'm going to add a different effect. This time I'm going to use an effect called overlay color. I actually like to use overlay color a lot more than overlay black, right? So I'm going to hit done. I want to click on overlay color. And as you can see down here, it tells you kind of how to control that specific file you're about to load. So overlay color will let you eliminate a certain color. And in my case, I like to use like a chroma key green or blue. And I'll show you how that works. And you can see this box. This box is super important right here. It says hex color. Typically, your designer will design it with a certain color in mind. And instead of you guessing on the color wheel which green it was, they'll give you a number that will be the exact green that they used. And it makes it super easy for you to kind of select that color. So I'm going to click on overlay color. Okay, so let's do add effect, overlay color. Here we go, done. And I'm going to hit choose file. It's going to be in my files. Let's see what I have in here. And hopefully I do have some prior customer stuff. I don't know if they'll get mad at me if I play it or not. Let's see. Let me see what I can share.
Now, DJ, with the overlay color, you have to have a special file for that to show up with the overlay color.
Correct. It'll be a similar to your overlay black. It'll be a special design that needs to be that also needs to be selected, right? So let me see if I have a few here.
And the main difference with overlay color versus overlay black is that center section, where on overlay black, the center section where the video will play is black, and overlay color, the center section is a specific color, because a lot of the overlays, text, graphics use have the color black in it. So if you use overlay black, it'll isolate those colors, because you're isolating the color black. So the overlay color gives you a little more range and diversity in your overlay selection. So you will always select a color that's not in your graphic at all. And typically people use like certain shade of blue or certain shade of greens, typically for that isolation color and overlay color. But that's the main difference. That center isolation area where your video will play is where you'll have that color that you select.
Yeah, so I'll be using, I believe it's this one here. It's from a client, I guess from last year. If you look at these last digits here, the 0FF00, that represents the screen, right? So that's important for me to realize. So typically when I have a designer that designs these types of artwork for me, I tell them to include the hex code, which is the color. So I have them include 00FF00. That represents the screen. Let's use that file and see what I come up with. So 00FF00. So I selected the file. Give me 1 second here. My internet's not cooperating with me right now, because this should be downloading instantaneously. The file is not that large, but it looks like my internet with the screen mirroring is struggling right now. Okay, let me close the app and see where I can, if we can do this again. Okay, I'm going to use a different one here. The one that I'm going to use is, you can't see it here, but it's an old one, but the colors are pretty similar. This was a blue that was keyed off. You can't see it right now, but it's 0000FF. So 4 zeros FF. Let's see if that one loads a lot quicker. Okay, that one seemed to load pretty quick. So on the hex code for this one, right, I'm going to go ahead and type in 0000FF was the color. And I'm going to click on done. And as you can see, this color code represents a blue, right? So it, the designer already gave me this option, obviously designed it over the blue square. And I'm going to go ahead and click on go back, and we're going to try it now. So let's make it happen. Let's see. It's slow-mo. It's recording. Same thing with like the overlay black. Overlay color takes the same amount of time as it would take with an overlay black. Overlay alpha by far is probably the best option to use with animated overlays. They process a lot quicker than overlay black or overlay color. However, the downside to that is that you do need to reach out to specific graphic designers to get those done. I believe overlay color and overlay black Some people have had success in designing those off of Canva. So, you know, it really comes down to preference. So this is what the overlay looks like. It's adding the video, it's going to add the audio, and then it's going to do a quick little playback. Again, these are the, let me see. Well, again, the screen mirroring is not the best, but I can exit out of here and go into the gallery because everything's uploading onto the online gallery. And I'll show you what it looks like. Here we go. Let's go back. This is it. This is the video right here. It just uploaded. So I'm going to go ahead and play it. You know, sometimes for me, less is more in my sense. I don't like to overcrowd my overlays. I'm just kind of going for a clean look. This was for a wedding that I did way back when. I'll play it one more time. That way you guys can see that effect. It's just more of a clean design, less clutter, just to the point for weddings. Get the curtain open up, you know, as your intro puts their name with the wedding date. You know, it just, I think it looks super clean, has some effects. And then it closes with the curtains closing, and you can even apply again their name and your company name. This is coming in based on the fact that I still had an outro. I wouldn't use an outro because on that specific effect, the animator actually worked in a intro and outro within this specific design. So I wouldn't use any of it. I'll just load the design and kind of go from there. What do you guys think so far? Those, I mean, those are pretty cool features. I don't see enough of them in our user group, and I think the reason I don't see enough of them is because a lot of people don't know how to use them, right? So I think that's why these webinars are super super good to talk about just some of these features that are hidden. People don't know about them and how to load certain files or where to access these files. But you know, to me, if you get these done and they're tastefully done, I think it's what's going to set you apart from anybody else offering a similar service. Any questions on that? Any?
Hi, DJ. Just a quick question. Are we going to be covering the router option today?
Yeah, it doesn't look like we are because the router option is a more technical option.
It's okay. I just have a quick question for you.
Sure.
So I followed all the steps in the videos that you shared online on your page as well as on the Touchpix page. So I set it up. However, what I'm finding is that when people scan the first QR code, they're not being able to join my router's network. And wanted to know why that is.
Okay. Let me see what I can do to help you out specifically, because I do have my stuff connected actually. It can be for a variety of reasons. So let me do this. Let me see if there's any more questions. If there isn't, I can skip into that and see if I can get you sorted real quick.
Okay, is there any way I can reach you directly? Because honestly, I've tried calling support. They don't know what to do, and I've called. They're asking for you, and they said that you'd get back to me, but I haven't heard anybody. So
yeah, so I'm not on full time. Like there's a lot of people that are on full time. So my days where I'm on is basically the day of this webinar, and
yep,
I'm
I
on
called today.
And then I'm on. Well, during the webinar is the only day where it's like my time slot, right?
Okay.
And I'm on Fridays and Saturdays. But
okay.
Let me Tia, if you can drop my email in the chat, the DJ1 at Touchpix. we can coordinate and maybe we can touch base and figure something out.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions regarding some of these features in Touchpix? Anything that you want to know with the iPhone? Any software related questions? Was that information useful for a lot of people? Did you guys already know about that? I just kind of want to see what your take is on that.
It was informative for me, kind of a refresher as well, so I appreciate it.
Okay, cool. Cool. I'm hoping it's useful, and I'm hoping people start using more creative overlays. I mean, I know they're not easy to obtain. It's just finding, I guess it comes down to finding the right designer for you guys that, you know, that seems, it seems feasible, because I know some of these prices tend to go up, and not every event is an event where you want to use this, but I'm sure as your skills improve and maybe you guys start tackling some corporate clients or just some higher end clients, you know, you guys can definitely start, you know, going into your tool bag and trying to offer more branding options with these animated overlays, right? So what I want to go into next is just a sharing station, right? Let's go into the sharing station, what the recommended settings are. And then if we have time, you know, I don't want to confuse you guys with Scanpix, but do a lot of people know what Scanpix is and how it works?
Yes,
No.
I'm kind of familiar with it a little bit, but I could use some brushing up.
Okay, so yeah, if
Same here.
so, let's see what we can do, because I do have just a little bit of time, and like I said, I want to value your time. And if you're here for this, I don't want to dismiss you by any means, but at the same time, I want to be able to relay all the information to the rest of the users as well. Anybody else want to know anything else about the software before I go into the sharing station?
I'm just waiting for the sharing station. You're doing this with GoPro or with iPhone?
This is going to be all iPhone. So far, everything that I've shown you today is straight to iPhone right now. Okay. So let's go,
Okay.
let's go into this real quick, and maybe I can, yeah, let's do it this way. I'm going to go back into share mode. Okay, so I'm going to go into share mode, and what I'm going to do is just utilize this camera here on share mode. If I can find my camera icon, there it is. Here we go. So this is my Touchpix sharing station right here on the side, and I've already scanned into it, right? Once you scan into it, if you're using it as a sharing station, you're going to scan into the option that says online sync, right? There's a Scanpix option now for sharing, and there's an online sync option. I scanned into the online sync option, right? First and foremost, what I would recommend you guys do is the following. Once you scan into it, I want you guys to exit away from Touchpix. And I want you guys to find your general settings tab, which is this little sprocket right here. Click on that. From your general settings, what I want you guys to do is go to general, go over to airdrop. Make sure airdrop is set to everyone, right? Make sure it's set to everyone right there. It's checked off, right? Then the other thing I want you guys to do is, you see where general is, two options down below general, you'll see where it says display and brightness, right? You're gonna tap on display and brightness. Then you're gonna look to your right. And when you see auto lock, you're gonna set auto lock to never. This will prevent your iPad from falling asleep or turning off. It's important that when you're setting up the sharing station, that you understand that you need to leave it on. You can't be toggling away from Touchpix, browsing the internet, doing anything else. It just needs to be a solid connection between that iPad and the device that you're using to record, Okay. Once you have these settings set correctly, you're going to go back into the Touchpix app. From your Touchpix app, you're going to see that it's in sharing mode already. You're going to want to go into the gallery. From your gallery, you're always going to start with your iPad, right? You're going to see this little S right here on the top left-hand corner. You're going to tap into that little S. And you're going to set that over to activate receiver, right? It turns into a white R. So now you're going to go over to your iPhone, or if you're using an iPad, whatever device you're using. Here's my second device here. What I'm going to do from here is tap into gallery, right? And I'm going to tap on the circle with the letter on top of it. And I'm going to click on activate sender. You're going to see the name of my iPad pop up here. I'm going to select it. Then it says success. Hit OK. Now I could, this is my capture device, or the device that's controlling. This could be your iPhone, or this could be whatever iPad you're using to control your GoPro if you're doing wireless. And as you can see, this R over here turned green, right? Once it's green, that means there's a solid connection between both devices. And as you just saw, their videos are now popping up, right? There's a video that just popped up. And this is your sharing station. This is how your sharing station is going to look on the kiosk, right? So people, when they get off the 360 platform, you're going to direct them to go over to the sharing station. They're going to find their thumbnail, right? They're going to select their thumbnail. And they'll be able to share using any of these options below. They could use the QR code, they could use the text messaging or email option, right? You click done, but as you can see now, there's more videos coming in. And the clients will just have the ability to pick any of their thumbnails, right? So that's how you operate your sharing station. That's how you make a successful connection. And it will continue to upload. You're going to see the sharing station continue to upload all its files, right? You don't need in order for these to communicate with one another, all you need to do on both devices is make sure that the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth are toggled to the on position. Your Wi-Fi from your capture device, your iPhone, or your original iPad that's not for sharing, it doesn't need to be connected to Wi-Fi at all. But if you're going to share content, your sharing station should have at least Wi-Fi connected to it. And if it doesn't, it's not the end of the world. You can still go about and type in the phone number, right? And whenever it connects to an internet connection, it will send out accordingly. A good place to look whether or not your stuff has sent out or not is here. I get a lot of calls during the support time. I'm going to exit off the sharing station mode real quick so I can show you. So if you really want to find out whether your text messages have been sent, right here in your Touchpix menu, you go into the menu, you're going to go into where it says queue. There's an option here that it says queue. You're going to tap on that. And everything that's in green has been sent out. Stuff that hasn't been sent out is going to say here to your right. It's going to say that it's pending, right? is if text messages have not been sent out, you're going to see a number there where it says SMS pending, email pending, right? That's all relevant in the event that your internet or your Wi-Fi is not working at an adequate speed. It's not going to send, right? But if you go to a spot where you have a better connection and you open up Touchpix, about 9 times out of 10, everything will send automatically. If it doesn't send automatically, here to your left on the top left-hand side, you can force send everything. If you want to send out SMS, which is text messaging, you just tap on SMS. If you want to send out email or re-upload all your files, you can do that, right? At the end of the day, all of this should be in green to make sure that everything has sent out. So you can keep track of what's sent and what hasn't been sent, right? Typically, that in-app gallery number I'm sorry, the web gallery number should match the in-app gallery number, right? So this is an old event, so of course it's kind of uploading again onto this iPad. So that's why the numbers are a little mismatched, but you know, hopefully that's making sense to a lot of people. Any questions on that? Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to touch on Scanpix real quick.
Thank you.
So Scanpix, what I'm going to do here is, what would be the best way to do it? Let me see. Give me one sec here while I try to figure this out. So Scanpix is not going to work on sharing mode. Okay. When you scan Scanpix right now, you're going to scan it under sharing, but you're going to want to scan it under the Scanpix setting, not the online sync. Okay. And this may change next week, so make sure you ask. Okay. Because we're definitely making some changes to Scanpix. It's going to be a little bit more powerful. It's going to do a little bit more things. But as of now, this is how Scanpix works. I'm
Well,
going to do
DJ,
it.
you can do it with the old method under the online sync sharing.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So let's try that actually, because I haven't tried that. Let me see.
I thought you don't need the online sync if you're using a router.
Well, you don't, but there's a way to set. Okay, here we go. You're actually right, Tia. You don't need it, but you have two options on setting it up now, right? So when you scan your new QR code, it's going to ask you either Scanpix or online sync. We're revamping the system for now. Just follow these methods. You can do it with both. So what I want you to do is when you go into Scanpix, this is your iPad. First of all, let's look for the most important thing you need to do first is go into your settings, go into the Wi-Fi, right? The Wi-Fi needs to be connected to the router that has Scanpix. For people that don't know, Scanpix is a free software that is built into Touchpix, but you do need to invest in a router. This is the router that I use. It's connected. This router is configured a certain way, which I'm not going to go through the steps in this webinar, but I'm going to show you the setup process. You actually, all you have to do is rename the router and give it a password, right? So what I'm going to do now is look for that router, and this router is called touchpix.com is what I call that router. And that router password is, I made it something very easy. It's enter 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to hit join, and you're going to wait till it makes the connection. So you can see I made the connection to touchpix.com. That's the first step. Now you go over to Touchpix. I'm going to go into the settings. And from the settings, I'm going to go ahead and toggle over to the Scanpix setup. Very important that the web server, you leave it off, right? It's off for now. This is the last thing you're going to activate. So Scanpix lets people access to your online gallery without the need of any internet connection. But it also lets you limit to how many photos they can see. Right now, my limit is set to only 4 videos or 4 photos They can't see my entire gallery. They'll see my most recent 4. If you want to move that number higher, you can. If you want to move that number lower, you also can, okay? And what I want to do is I want to type in my information here. I'm just going to do this briefly. My contact name is DJ. My made up phone number is 555 555 5555, all 5s. My web link is Touchpix. You can put your business web link here, touchpix.com. This is how people are going to find you. So I think I forgot the dot. Here we go. .com. Organization, if you're part of an organization, you can put that in there. The important part is here, the Wi-Fi name needs to be exactly how you set up your router. I set up my router with the capital T, since I used it for one of our trade shows. Touchpix.com is the way I set up my router exactly. Capital letters need to be exact or else it's not going to work. Characters need to be exact or else it's not going to work, right? My Wi-Fi password, as I indicated, is something super easy. Enter 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't remember if I use WPA or WPA2. I'm a little confused. Yeah, but I think I changed it. I changed it up on some of my routers.
Oh, okay.
So I don't remember what I used, but let's try it anyways under WPA. Once I do that, I'm going to hit generate QR code. At this point, I want you guys to recognize that it gave me one QR code, right? This QR code here represents the QR code that's going to give the client the ability to scan into your router. As you can see, my camera wants to log into touchpix.com. I'm not going to do that with this phone because it's online, right? So now, since I have everything set up correctly, now at this point, you're going to go all the way to the top and hit activate Scanpix. And this should give you your second QR code, right? And after that, that's pretty much it. So this is what's going to happen. I'm going to hit go back. And since it's active, in about 30 seconds, you're going to see this. Give me 2 QR codes, and I want to see if it works. Okay, I'm grabbing another phone real quick. Sorry, I got a lot of devices here.
DJ, is there any way that, like in one of your videos, you said that you can toggle back and forth between the gallery screen and the QR code screen? I tried that today and that didn't happen.
Well, this is the okay. So let me explain this quick and let's see what we can do. So this is the screensaver that came up, right? So what people do now, whether they have an Android or an iPhone, they're going to go into their camera app and they're going to scan that first QR code. And it says join touchpix.com. I'm going to hit join, right? I'm going to wait a couple seconds while it joins that network. Once it joins that network, now I'm going to go over to QR code number 2. Then I'm going to scan QR code number 2. Kind of hard to do with one hand here. And as you can see, my video is loaded up beautifully, right? So if I tap on this video here, the customer could download the video, right? Look, it's saying download. You don't need internet connection to this. And to prove to you that I have no internet connection, I'm going to go swipe down and look at my Wi-Fi setting. And as you can see, it's connected to touchpix.com. I'm going to go as far as even turn off my cellular data, right? So you can see. And now I'm going to go as far as now going into a web browser. And I'm going to try to go into a site that I go in all the time. I'm going to try to go to ESPN or something like that, right? Oops, sorry. And as you can see, I have no access to ESPN because I don't have internet. But what I do have access to is by scanning this QR code, I have access to this web gallery. I have no internet. So it doesn't matter if you're out in the boondocks, doesn't matter if you're in the middle of the ocean doing a 360 event, this will guarantee your clients their video. The way you download is you click on the video, you click download. You're gonna see that, you can see that little arrow there. It already downloaded. So I'm gonna go ahead and tap that little, sorry, it's just super hard to do with one hand. So I'm gonna click on that little arrow, go into your downloads folder. There is the video that I just now downloaded, and it plays it back onto your device perfectly. And now what people need to do to save it onto their device is use this little up arrow here. This is an iPhone thing. Save video. And it goes into your camera roll, just like that. If I were to go into my camera roll, let me see, where do I have my camera roll? Go back. It's gonna, you're gonna see that my camera roll, it's one of these videos, but it's on there. So that's how you kind of connect with Scanpix. This is your screensaver. What you can do, what I do when I use Scanpix at my events, I have the ability to leave it on gallery. This is what I was saying, right? You can actually set your receiver sender still, it'll still work. Make this your receiver and your other device your sender, right? So when people get off their platform, they can still come over here, right? They're still gonna type in, let me use a different video, that way you guys can see. Let me use a way different video. Let's use something that we can tell apart. Let's use this gentleman with the hat, right? So I'm gonna type in a phone number. Let's use, I'll do it this way. I'll do it with email. I don't want to give out my my number, so I'll do it with email. So DJ1. I misspelled it, touch. Pix. So that's my direct Touchpix email, but it works the same with phone numbers, right? I'm gonna hit send. It's not gonna send because this doesn't have internet, right? But it's gonna store it in the queue, right? So people can hit done. Once you hit done, this automatically still stays as your main screen. So people can actually scan into it. What I like to do specifically, I just copy these QR codes and I'll print them out and I'll put them in a picture frame on the table. That way people are not waiting for this screensaver to kick on to be able to get their content. If I have these QR codes printed on a nice picture frame, then they can come and scan it at their own leisure. They can still, by tapping on the screen, they can still have access to their gallery. This will not send right now because it doesn't have internet connection. But if they want to download it through, Scanpix, you can always still download it off of Scanpix and it will still be there, right? Why I do it this way is because it creates redundancy for me. If people are still punching in their number, people are still punching in their email address, once my event is over, right, I can always connect to the internet and send out the queue, which is what I explained before going into the Scanpix explanation. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. It does make a lot of sense. It's just that it's not operating the way, like I followed all of your steps and people are not getting access to join my network. And my network's very easy. The password's very easy. So I sent you an email nonetheless. So hopefully we can connect.
Yeah, let's connect. You know, I'm sure it's something super easy that, you know, you may be missing. Typically it is, it's like a special character. It's something, you know, just kind of go through those same motions again and maybe rename it something a little bit more basic and see what we can do. If it's not on WPA, I would also suggest WPA2. The reason why I started using WPA2 versus WPA in my experience out in the field using Scanpix, that I've used it quite a bit. And I don't know if Tia's has similar experiences, but ever since I went over to WPA2, my iPhones are not the problem. The iPhones always get the content. Every so often, I get somebody with an older type of Android device that is not able to connect to the network. And I find that the WPA2 security measure, I have more success with all Android users than the WPA security protocol.
Yeah, I use WPA too, and that was going to be my question for the user. And also, by you saying people can't scan into the first code, are they able to manually connect to the Wi-Fi?
No.
Okay, so that's an issue with either you type something in wrong or your connection, your route, your actual device may be disconnecting and finding other connections. So when you and DJ connect, that's something that you all can cover, because if they can't even manually type it in, that's something.
Yeah, it's something within the within the router. Yeah,
Exactly.
no, we'll get you sorted out. Give me give me a call. More than likely Friday mornings are good for me, and we'll sort you out quickly.
Call you when? Where? On the support
we're-
line?
Yeah, we're gonna touch base now that you've emailed me, and then I'll give you a direct number where we can connect.
Thank you.
Okay, but yeah, we'll
And-
sort you out.
Okay, thanks. Just one more question though before
Sure.
we're done here. You also mentioned that when we're first setting up the router, that we need to enable. It was an old video, so it doesn't even really apply anymore. But I want to know if there's a place where I can go ahead and just enable wireless radio, or if that even matters anymore.
That was with the older router. I started having some difficulties with that older router. And I don't know if because I bought mine refurbished or whatnot. That older router
So no,
worked.
it doesn't matter. No,
It shouldn't matter. And that older router had multiple channels too. So I mean, ever since I made the switch to this little smaller router, I think everything's been working very, very solid on the Scanpix end, and things are getting better with Scanpix. So the last thing I want to show you with Scanpix is this. I'm going to scan this real quick one more time. You don't need to, but just to show you that we're still able to connect to Scanpix.
You know how my mom is. You know, me and your daddy, we used to be real intimate. I could have been your mom, but clearly I'm not. Family is a mess. We're counting on you to fix it.
So I want you guys to pay attention to this right here too. This is very important, and I'm glad that it happened now on the webinar. As you can see, my phone or my device auto-connected to a different network. It's no longer connected. It's no longer connected to my router, right? Make sure that you configure your phone to ask to connect to a different network. It doesn't auto connect. I know it's doing that on my house because it's my house network. So I've allowed that for it to happen. So make sure that you're allowing, you don't allow your phone to access familiar networks, right? So now I'm gonna hit refresh, and now it takes me back, see? So as you guys can tell, about 15 seconds ago, I tried to come in and it wasn't going anywhere. So for me, it raised a red flag. I said, well, let me go check my network real quick, and go from there. So let me see.
Would that possibly be an issue too on the user end as well? Like, say they're trying to connect to my router, but they're auto connecting to, say, the venue's Wi-Fi. Could that be a possible issue?
It can be a possible issue for sure. So I would have them, and let me go into it right now real quick. And I kind of goofed right now on that because I scanned the second QR code with the actual phone that I'm using for the webinar, right? And I was using a separate phone to show you guys Scanpix. So it just because I got a bunch of devices in front of me, so I just made that mistake. But it was a good mistake to make. That way you guys exactly know how to kind of navigate through that, because if it's not connecting, the number one thing you guys want to look at is, wait, am I still on my Scanpix router, or what's the deal, right? And that's easy enough for you guys to troubleshoot. But what I want to make a point with and explaining is that this is a tool. I know people may get confused. What is this guy talking about, right? This service here, just to give you a quick explanation for the people that are not familiar with this is a money saving tool that's being provided to you with your subscription of Touchpix. This same exact service anywhere else will cost you over $600, right? This is something that Scanpix provided. We were one of the very first people to do this, if not the first. And you know, and it works great. You go to a different service that tries to emulate what we do, and they charge you about $600 a year to $1,000 a year, depending on which service you go with for this exact same feature. So what I want to show you is real quick. Let me see. I want to make sure again that the following. So I'm going to use this other device here. I'm going to go over to the Wi-Fi settings here. And under the Wi-Fi settings, I want to make sure that it's still connecting. As you can see, I have a ton of Wi-Fi's next to me, but my router is called touchpix.com, and you see where it says no internet connection. That's where you should be connected, right? The other thing is make sure that your settings are asked to join network. There's some that have it set to automatically join, right? Or have it off. So you want to make sure you have the settings there. But before I go into the next thing, I wanted to show you guys this here. I'm going to scan that QR code. It should take me to the gallery. If you guys recall the information that I put in at the beginning when we were filling out Scanpix, so pretending that this is a customer's phone that's scanning into your gallery, if they want your contact information on how to hire you, all they got to do is tap this top contact, right? And it says my name, because I put in DJ, I put in that 55 number. It has my website and it'll have my phone number, right? So it'll have everything at their disposal, and all they have to do is hit save, and you will now be saved onto their phone. So it's that easy, right? So Scanpix is getting better. Without giving too much info on the updates, there's going to be some better ways of collecting data, right? Even when it's offline. So it is getting a lot better, and just kind of stay tuned with us for the updates. Right now it works, like I said, it works phenomenal for my events. I use it, I want to say I use it about 90% of the time. And people who are not using it and you're struggling with sharing, or you want to save money and not use a hotspot, you can do that. You know, now that we did mention that, I kind of want to show you guys a trick now, because I do have it handy. My trick is this. This router has no internet, correct? This hotspot is a Verizon hotspot that I typically use for my events, right? I'm going to power it on real quick so I can show you. And I haven't shown this, it's probably been over a year, but since I have everything handy, it'll be good for me to show. So I want you guys to check this out. This is actually a trick not that many people know, and I don't mind sharing because I think it's super beneficial.
Do you have to pay monthly for the hotspot?
You do, but I use it. For me, it's a business write-off. I have numerous other booths outside of Touchpix that I use, plus a DJ service. So I need this for my business. But you do, and don't go. My advice is don't go with the cheapest. Go with a provider that's going to provide the best service in your area, right? So what I'm going to do here is, this is a hotspot, right? It's using my Verizon hotspot, and it'll only work on hotspots that have a USB-C plug, right? USB-C plug is very important. So what you can do now is, there's an adapter here from Amazon. These go for about 20 to 25 bucks. This adapter is USB-C, right? But on the other end of this adapter, it has what's called a Cat5 or an Ethernet cable. What I'm going to do with this specific adapter is connect the USB-C, right? I'm going to connect the USB-C on one end. On the other end, I connected the Ethernet cable. From this instance, I'm going to use this end of the cord and plug it into the back of the router. Now you guys are thinking, well, this guy's pretty crazy. There's too many wires. But essentially what this does, it's sending your router wherever you're at, internet. So now Scanpix should have internet access. And that's kind of a trick that I've used on occasion. Let me make sure everything's working.
Why is this a better option?
Well, because typically it's not that it's a better option, it's just that it's an added option. This works without internet, right? But this can also work with internet. It doesn't have to always be without internet. So now when you're sending your text messages, instead of having them on queue, you can just send the text messages, right? You can, everything will work as if you had a specific internet connection. This just kind of gives you more layers of security. You know, a lot of people don't know that they can tap into Scanpix with or without internet. It's just a different way of accessing that now. So it's just you know, for whatever it's worth, it's a small investment to pay for the security that your client is going to get. Your client's going to get their content, their files. So once it's connected, like I said, it's connected here, it's connected here, it's connected to the router port. Now what I can do is if I hit reload on my stuff, I can see that I can see now that it has internet connectivity. So, you know, it's on ESPN now. I can go anywhere, you know, any other website. So it'll work now. It has internet connection based on this connection here. That's all I wanted to show. I know that might have been a little over the top. I didn't have to show that, but just wanted you guys to understand that there's levels to this, and the more prepared you are, the better you're going to be at any event. So you're going to come upon situations where Scanpix is probably what you need, and you'll probably be fine without internet. But in the event that your client wants something instantly and it requires, for whatever reason, you know, a text message because such and such person needs to have it, then you have that option as well to be able to provide that. You know, the last thing you want is tell your client, no, I can't do that, right? I always like to wow my clients, and I think Touchpix is a perfect platform for that. You know, you could wow them in so many different ways and make you look like a true professional. If you know the ins and outs of the software, I think you'll be able to be prepared for anything that comes at you.
So instead of, if the router has connection to the internet, they'll only need to scan that one QR code rather than scanning into the network and then into the video QR code?
Not necessarily, no. You still need your two QR codes. One gives access to that specific router. That router now has internet connection. It now has the ability to connect to the internet. You still need that second QR code for the local gallery.
Okay.
Cool. Any other questions? All right. If there's no more questions, we're going to call it. I thank everybody for joining the call. You know, I think we did cover quite a bit today. I like how these webinars are now kind of progressing from the typical, you know, setup. It sounds like a lot of you are kind of up to speed with the majority of Touchpix. And if you're new, do not get scared of what we covered today. You will get there. Give yourself some time to practice with the software, get the fundamentals, get the basics down. And then before you know it, you know, you're going to be in that moderate advanced level where you're going to be now wowing your customers as well.
Thanks, DJ. Please check your email too.
I'll check it. No worries. No worries. Yeah, I'd like to thank everybody, and Tia especially. Tia's a very good Scanpix user. It's not just me. So I know she's used it before. So I don't know if you wanted to add anything to that, Tia.
No, you're fine. You know, DJ, everyone wants you. So that's not with me. That's not with me.
So you know, it comes down to repetition and practice it. Don't just, you know, don't just look at this webinar, do it for a couple of hours and then just leave it alone and let it sit there for 30 days and try to pick it up then. Keep on practicing. I think that's where a majority of our users kind of make that mistake. They learn it for a little bit and then they think they got it down and then they don't practice no more, right? And then the event comes and, you know, then stuff's not working because they forgot how to do a certain step. But we'll get you there. These webinars are free. This is what you're paying into. You're paying into the support that's going to take care of you. You're paying into these free trainings, and you know, we're guaranteeing that we're going to be here for you and we're going to help you as much as we can, because if you succeed, we all succeed. That's just kind of how it works.
And is I heard that you guys are open 24 hours now support. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, huh?
It is. Are you guys really open 24/7?
There is
Call
people,
and check.
yeah.
I called on Sunday. No one answered, but I spoke to someone today and they're like, yeah, we're open 24/7.
Yeah, there's supposed to be somebody on Sundays. I don't know exactly Sundays. But I know during the week,
The weekday. Mhm.
yes, during Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I guarantee you somebody will answer.
Yep.
You know, we call those the peak days, right? The off-peak days, maybe Sundays, Mondays, maybe a
Until
little.
what time? Until what time?
You know what? We have a big team now. We're all over the world right now. So I'm out of the West Coast. I know Tia's out of the East Coast, but we have people now that are in different countries helping out with support.
So typically between 12 until 12 a.m. you'll be able to get someone on the support line, and then on off-peak days is typically runs from 7 a.m. to 12 a.m. So you'll get someone during those hours. On Sundays and Mondays it really isn't cost effective and people really don't call in, so the 24-hour option or that extended option, we haven't officially rolled that out yet, but during those peak days, you'll definitely be able to get support until midnight, essentially.
Nice.
On these days.
That's very good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're definitely trying. I mean, I know people have options, and I mean, we don't want you to look at those other options because I think I solely believe that we are the best option. And that's the reason. I mean, I think our development team, the people who created the app, they feel the same way. It's like, look, if people are with us, let's do everything we can to be able to support them. That way they can succeed. And if we can achieve that, they're going to stay on with us, right? So I think it's a great way to implement these practices. All right. Outside of that, thank you, everybody. You know, have a great week, and we'll catch you on the next one. Have a great night.
Thank you. Thank you, Tia, as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one, everyone.
Thank you.